Okay, good afternoon, everybody. And calling to order the March 2026 meeting of the PFL Patent Free Library Board of Trustees. We will start out with the Secretary's report, which consists of the minutes of the February 10th meeting. Are there any comments, questions, or edits to the minutes of the 10th?
I had one comment. If you look at the development report in the minutes, it says that we haven't met as a committee since October, which isn't.
Oh, I wonder.
True, we just didn't have quorum in December. We didn't meet.
We did meet, right, we just,
I don't know how important that is captured in the minutes.
I think that's what it says, we met but didn't have a quorum in
Yeah.
December.
Wait, in these minutes? This is the minute.
Somewhere in there, I read. Let's see.
It might have been in,
Is that in your?
Yes, it says the development committee meets on February 20th at 10 AM. A large agenda to discuss fundraising plans. The committee last met in October.
Oh, okay, there we go,
2025.
sorry, yeah, the very last line, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
just add that, didn't have a quorum.
So,
We did meet, we just didn't,
okay,
so we met in December without one.
And if you go to the next line, that's sort of a throwaway phrase, library giving day in the spring.
Yeah, that was one of my changes. We'd say put in it's April 1st,
Something, okay, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Put in something.
correct?
what?
Library Giving Day
People first.
is April 1st.
Right.
No,
Library giving day is April 1st.
Yeah, that was one of my
Okay.
comments. Under the secretary's report earlier on, I would say, there was a reference to something I had asked Elizabeth and, about Title II funding. And I would suggest that the sentence start in response to a question from a board member. The assistant director noted that Title II applies to PFL since, even though it is not a public library, because of receiving federal funding.
Do you have that written down?
Yes, I do.
Can you hand it to me?
Not right now. It's in my
Okay.
notes, part of my notes for the meeting. I will give it to you later.
Hey, you get what you pay for here.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other comments, changes to the minutes from February 10th? If not, is there a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second,
Anthony, Suki, all in favor? Minutes are approved as amended. Adjustments to the agenda. We will have a short description and discussion of one of the terms of the McDonald Trust. As you know, we're trying to broaden the applicability or coverage of the trust. And there has been some discussion with the attorney regarding how far we can go based on some feedback she's received. So we will bring that up under old business. And then during the finance committee report, Tommy has graciously agreed to give an informal readout brief on the meeting we had on March 9th with One River. Anthony can jump into with those adjustments. Comments? There's always there's, if I was going to give kudos to everybody who deserved it, we'd probably, it'd still be, it'd make the meeting even longer than normally is. But I wanted to say, first of all, I'll note a few as we go through. I wanted to ask also to the committee chairs in particular, but any members of our committees, that the governance committee sent out to the chairs a template for committee charters, and along with an AI created version for each committee. The latter, the AI, is just for reference. It's just
You've
a,
already sent those?
I know.
oh,
Okay.
I thought you had that.
Okay, I should have.
Okay. All right, they'll be coming. Okay, best to let you know in advance that the AI document is just for reference. Maybe it's, food for thought, but the committees should not feel constrained or limited by the AI product. It was just something that Tommy found, and it's just another perhaps useful tool for doing that. I have to, one comment is it seems that our museum passes and everything related to that are a big hit and growing. And I noticed that we've added recently the Chocolate Church and Maine's first ship to Leslie.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and next up, there's a skateboarding pass, correct?
Yeah, that's coming.
But any of you who are prone to broken bones already, I would
Don't go.
gently suggest don't check that one out.
Gonna say, Carl, you're gonna get in line for that one?
Yeah, yeah, right. Okay. So that being said, let's go on to the librarian's report.
I think we're gonna have to add skateboarding gear to our library of things then, like helmets and all that stuff.
Talk to Judy Metcalf.
Yeah. So I have just a short report. We have a lot of agenda items and I don't have any staff member coming today, but there will be some staff coming in the next few months. As we usually do, we have probably a summer reading. Mary will give some kind of summer reading kickoff report. And then we started, I think, in the beginning of February with our Library of Things. Circulating and moving those things all into one location and circulating them a little bit differently and with more publicity and these plaques and things that show you when they're in and when they're out. So anyway, we're going to have some, as we gather more data on their usage, we'll have report on those in a couple of months and bring in the staff that worked on that committee to talk about how it's going so far and what they sort of see in the future. For the Library of Things. And lastly, I really, if you haven't had a chance to look at the installation of the resiliency, what is it?
Resilience.
Vision resilience. It is incredible. I'm blown away, actually. It's amazing. So please take a look tomorrow night. I think there's an open house beginning at 5 and then at 5:30 there's going to be a program. I'm looking at John because I think I'm right on that. I want to make sure the time's right. And so they're going to be talking about that installation. It's especially the columns. It's incredible. So the work they've done and it's impeccably done. I love it because it's giving me some ideas for the future. Please take a look. It's absolutely incredible. What else can I tell you? I know Rebecca's going to give an update on the capital campaign. So I will say my February has been spent probably at least 50% of my time with campaign meetings and just a lot of business around the campaign, but she's going to give you an exciting update and we're really thrilled with how things have been going. So yeah, so that's, I think actually I'm going to, if it's okay, Carl, I'm going to turn it right over to Rebecca.
Sure.
She's next on the
Was there
agenda.
any questions? First of all, are there any questions
Yeah.
from Leslie's comments? Okay, let's go on to capital campaign update.
Hi, everyone. I hope you all had some time outside. It's so
Let me
gorgeous.
turn it up.
No,
Hold
you
on.
can't hear me again?
Yeah, we're in a different location. I just need to turn it up.
Okay.
Okay, let me see how to turn this. Where's the space to? Is it in Zoom? Or is it outside of Zoom? Do you know, Samantha?
Do you have the owl?
No, I didn't set up the owl.
You just have to turn off your laptop because that's where it's going from.
Share. So that's all right. So I just need to figure out the audio. I think I can turn up the audio from here.
Just get it as high as you can on the laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Audio settings.
I have a button on.
Aha, here we go. Output volume. This is it. I think I got it. Okay, go ahead and talk.
Can you hear me?
That's better.
That's better. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, hello, everyone. I
Right.
spend, as many of you know, most of my Thursdays in that room. I wasn't expecting to see it on the screen. It's a true boardroom night for you all. I did make some slides. So I'm wondering if folks can see the screen or not. Should I share them or just verbal? Okay, great. So let me do that then. Can everyone see the slides?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so like Leslie said, we've been really busy. Our fundraising total is now just about 3.2 million. And that includes, these numbers are as of last week, so there's already been a little shift. There was a $100,000 gift, a pledge that has now moved into the gift section. But we're about 2.25 in gifts in hand, and a little under $1 million in pledges that are outstanding. It's been an incredibly exciting and busy quarter. And February in particular was just not, we were just slammed with donor meetings, which is so exciting. So to date, the campaign has 51 pledges or gifts that are $5,000 or above, 7 of which are brand new since the January quarterly report, totaling $225,000, and that includes 3 fairly large gifts of $100,000, $50,000, and $30,000. We also made so many asks this past couple of weeks or months, and so we've got about $1 million in outstanding asks, 3 of which are $250,000 in size, one at 150 and one at 50, and then several smaller. So if they are still being categorized, so to speak, as an outstanding ask, that means that we were not given a no. That means we heard, we will think about it, we'll be in touch. So anyone that we asked who said, no, thank you, did not kind of make it into these bullets. So this is really good news. I think a lot of these asks will turn into good support for the campaign. And thank you to everyone who's participated in these. Everyone's kind of lent a hand along the way, all of our campaign committee members. I also wanted to share this visual aid, which you have in your quarterly report. Anything in yellow is a gift that we have secured, and then that light orangey pinkish color is what we still need to raise based on sort of that formulaic campaign science that tells us how to get to our goal of 4.75 million. So I feel really, really good about this progress. We tend to make our asks all on these higher tiers, but some folks who are not able to give the amount that we've asked then wind up in these lower gift levels. So we're really trying to focus at the highest possible level and keep moving that needle as much as we can. So keep staying tuned on that. Our campaign committee grew even a little bit more since the last time we talked. Jeff and Margie Geiger have agreed to sign on, which is really wonderful. Jeff in particular has been a strategic partner with us in approaching Bath Savings and thinking about approaching Bath Ironworks. And so we've been so grateful for that. And I also wanted to say a special thank you to Tommy and Anthony, who after many years of incredible service have stepped off the campaign committee, but of course continued to do oh so much for the library. So the significant asks that have happened recently include the city for Library Park Amphitheater, Bath Savings, and Bath Ironworks is sort of, we did like the pre-ask meeting for that one. And we've been just cruising and cranking. I think that was all I wanted to share. Does anyone have questions about the campaign?
I do. Rebecca,
Peggy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I noticed that those 3 large gifts are businesses or organizations, and I was just curious, are most of the really large gifts organizations or businesses, or are there some of them individuals? Or I'm just curious as that
Yeah.
sort of, breakdown, if you will, or whatever.
That's a really great question. I think the majority of our large gifts so far have just been from community members, and I think that tends to be the case. That we are just lucky enough to have some really deep historic relationships with some businesses in the area that allow us to make such significant asks, but I think it's actually fairly unusual for businesses to give 6-figure gifts to capital campaigns like ours. So hopefully those work out. But most of the funding will come from people. And of course, there's people making the decisions on behalf of those businesses. So those are also just relationships with community members. It's a special group in Bath for sure.
Thank you.
Anything else for Rebecca? Not? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for all you're doing.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
We'll move on now to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Suki?
Second.
Anthony, all in favor? All right, we will move on to the consent agenda, starting with the monthly report from the staff. I want to say, I thought, Elizabeth, your report about I appreciated the stats about the continuing growth in the library use year on year. It was
Yeah.
pretty impressive. And it was great to know about the usefulness of the hearing equipment, assistance equipment, because that's something we can always tout.
Yeah.
And when we reach out to serve municipalities, point that another way we're trying to meet patrons' needs. I would also say Hannah's report was great about program usage. And kudos to Sarah on the birding project, as well as to everyone involved in establishing a library of things. It seems to be getting a lot of use already. If you go by the shelves, a lot of this stuff is checked out. And of course, the children's section is hopping as usual. Not to downplay that, but that's significant. Yeah.
It is usual.
And I wanted to ask for Samantha, you could talk about the periodicals program, which is not taken off as well as last year, but I'm talking with you, that we could do, donations are still accepted.
Yes, yeah,
For
even though we
periodicals.
ran the, appeal for the month of February, it's this fiscal year, so if anybody wanted to support the periodicals, you can let me, if you have a specific title that you want to support, let me know, and I'll share with you any that are unsponsored, or if you just want to give general support. But, yeah, we didn't make the goal and,
Yeah.
but it is going on until the end of the fiscal year, so it's just part of the annual fund, so the more we raise there, the less we have to rely on the spring appeal.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you guys share that, please? Yeah, I can do that. I can have Cookie, I'll have her share it out with everybody. Thank you.
And finally, I look forward to hearing more in the future about the ideas about revamping the town history series. I thought Jack's comments or ideas were very, very interesting. So it's great. It's a very popular event. It has been, but it's time for retooling it. So much the better. Yeah. All right. So those are my comments on the monthly staff report. Is there anything else?
I like the addition of the pictures
Okay,
in the staff report.
yeah,
That's fun. Gives us a better sense.
Also, the significant use of facts, I thought that was interesting.
yeah.
Significant use of facts. Is that what-
Fax machine.
It's- Oh, fax service.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a comment on that too. I hadn't realized that we did so much of that kind of, I think Elizabeth called it service center, with the faxing, the scanning and
Mhm.
all of that. I didn't realize it was that much of it, so that was interesting to know.
We're jocks of all trades, Peggy.
Yeah, I'm seeing that more and more.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, if you want to go, there's still companies that say they want you to sign it and fax it back in, or where do you go to do that
Yeah.
these days?
All the equipment table, all has that, it's like they're making care and stuff like that.
Yeah. Medical is still all fax.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We send over 1,000 faxes a month, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to you if we need facts.
For a fee. Just kidding. Anytime.
Okay. Duly noted. Okay. Building and Technology Committee. In that regard, let's say maybe it's as much for you as for the committee, but we've heard about the fuel oil consumption issue and did you talk about the status of the training for you and Elizabeth on the controls? And finally, about the ventilation system issue.
Well, the training Elizabeth and I have had.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of the things with the controls are really at a higher level than it's sort of knowing the way things are supposed to be set. And that's really more of an engineer or an HVAC person. But what's great about the controls, I mean, there's what I love is I can see the broad picture. I can look and see a whole first floor and see what the temperature is in every room. I can look and see if things are operating properly. I get alerts when there are problems.
Okay.
And we also have, like, I'll be setting up a login for Nason, who does our HVAC maintenance right now. And so they can log in and see where the problems are. So it isn't just useful for me, but for other vendors that we use that I can set up logins so they can see activity. In itself, the software is not difficult to use. But it is, I'm not, and there's only so much that I'm going to be able to do with it, not being a maintenance sort of, HVAC person, but it's still very important to have. And then the other part of your question was about the fuel oil. So, what's happening is we are using more fuel oil than we predicted. We talked about this at the finance committee meeting. I don't know if we talked about this at building and technology. I have to look at the report again. I don't think it had come. It was because I had met with Joe right after our committee meeting. So I'm going to be reporting back to that at the next building and tech committee meeting. But and this is where you might be able to speak a little bit more about it. So there is our current ventilation system still uses an air exchange system, which does rely on fuel oil. And so what was happening was and this is where it's kind of outside my technical area of expertise, but I did have EMC wrote a memo explaining it, which I'll share with the building and tech committee. I shared with the finance committee to explain why our fuel oil usage was higher than we expected. But apparently, so this exchange system is still using the boiler and what's happening is it wasn't set properly and they weren't aware of that. So it was shutting off when it got to 36 degrees. And so now that it's working properly, it's using more fuel oil than predicted. So the finance committee, we will be using contingency to pay for this year's fuel oil. And then when we get to the finance committee report, Tommy can speak to, we're going to be relooking at next year's budget, but also the building and tech committee, when they give their report, there's talk of looking into a new an air exchange system, which is more efficient. So it's kind of a bigger picture item too. So that's kind of what's going on.
Two things I'd add on.
Yeah, please add.
First of all, the reason for the fuel oil usage, of course, is that heat exchange has to preheat air that it's bringing in for the ventilation system. In winter months. Other than the issue of fuel oil usage, repair or replace is not an immediate issue. It's working fine, but we did ask EMC to give us a proposal, and they actually gave us two options for systems to replace that air exchange system with an all-electric heat pump based system, so that we wouldn't be using the heating oil in the long term. That will ultimately be a capital investment decision. It's not an immediate repair or maintenance issue. It's just a consideration for future.
Yeah. Anything else, building and technology related?
That when we're talking about the warming center. We talked about it last time, we talked about getting insurance and legal advice on that.
It's on the agenda further down.
Yeah, the warming cooling center is on under old
Okay.
business, so we'll
Okay,
get into that.
was there information on it?
I did send out something today, but I'll be talking about it more. I have a,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So the attachment that was in there was what did we send around for?
Right.
Yeah.
It was in today's packet. That wasn't new.
No.
Right, I just want to make sure.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's-
There's a piece that was new, which was the.
That was, I wanted to make sure that all staff had a chance to be, so, yeah, which I'll talk
comments from
about.
staff.
Yeah,
Comments from
That's on it, yeah.
staff.
right.
Yeah.
That one came out today.
I have a question about the heat exchanger.
Oh.
So what I don't understand is if heat exchanger, there's already hot air in this room, so why does it have to be preheated again? Am I missing some part of the heat exchange?
No, it's during yes, you're right,
Oh.
it's already warm air.
Yeah.
In the room, but you don't want to put an added burden on the heating system by blowing cold air into the room. So the most efficient thing to do is to preheat the air that's coming into the room, so that it matches.
Oh,
the
so at the
temperature
beginning
of the room.
before, okay, gotcha, all right, I was thinking it could be, exhaust.
So it's part of the operation of the
Gotcha.
ventilation system,
Okay.
you're thinking of the exhaust side
Right.
of it, but something has to replace that air
Right.
that's being exhausted.
Okay,
And so you need to preheat the air that
Okay.
you're bringing into the room.
I was missing. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Finance. Tom?
Did anybody have any questions? There was a write-up about the whale thing in the finance.
Yeah.
To please. But we did decide to use the capital campaign contingency to pay for it, not a regular contingency.
Right.
And since it's
Yeah.
connected to the HVAC project. That's-
Mhm.
We're gonna have a talk later about paying down the loan.
That's
So
coming up
on the agenda.
Later in
Yeah.
this one, yeah, okay, yeah.
So, if anyone have any other specific questions?
It's just the meeting with One River on.
Oh, the meeting with Run River, right, so we did meet with them, yesterday, right?
Right,
Yeah,
yesterday.
Wow, was that yesterday?
Friday. No, that was Sunday, last week.
Sunday.
Oh, no, right,
That was it.
yesterday. Oh, my gosh. Today's
So,
Tuesday.
we'll be bringing the financial review report to next month's
Yeah.
board meeting, but there were a couple of questions, the report, that the committee had about the report. One was about why they said we use a modified cash basis of accounting, and there was sort of an explanation that that's typically what nonprofits do. We don't use pure accrual accounting. I guess it never really came up when Brewer was our accountant.
Yeah.
But, yeah, but the big thing that came out of that conversation was that we're gonna have to do a lot more bookkeeping than we used to do. There was a lot of expense associated with the financial review, so, because we don't have ledgers on our books for all of our bank and investment accounts. So they had to actually go through and reconcile all of those themselves.
Right.
So that added, 4, 5, 6 grand to the bill. So we're gonna have to do that ourselves in the future. So that may be, so we may end up having a little bit more hours on our bookkeeper to cover that, since the consequence of that, so.
So is that realistic, Josephina, to take that on?
Well, that's cheaper than having a
Oh, no, no, but
CPA do it.
Or is she available?
Once she catches up, I will be talking with her. I don't imagine, I'm gonna talk with her about how much more time this will take. in her schedule, but it's the catching up that's going to be.
He did offer some shortcuts that we could take, like, for example, we wouldn't really need to account for every dividend and interest
Right.
payment and capital gains and all that kind of stuff, which is a really complicated part of tracking investments.
Right.
We could just sort of use net change kind of thing from month to month, so that would make it a lot. And apart from that, it's really just checking accounts, saving accounts, CDs, that's.
Right.
easy.
Well, and I will say for example, and this is something I'm very familiar with, literally what I do for a job. A part of it anyway, the checking and savings that we use transactionally. So we have a sweep that goes back and forth. You don't have to record every transaction for the sweep. You can put that into one ledger account into QuickBooks, and that can be one account married together. And then you can reconcile both accounts into that one account. So you don't, every time you have a sweep, you don't have to reconcile that sweep. So like at the plant home, we do the same process. We have a sweep for a certain threshold. We don't have to reconcile every sweep transaction. We just reconcile the individual transactions. So that isn't a sweep. Because otherwise that would create a lot of hand in the neck, that's for sure.
So I think those are really the takeaways from the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can that be done with software? I mean, are there programs that we can use here that will help us do that? Or is it something that is just a matter of plugging into that?
I think the answer is yes to that. There's some of it is done in the software and some of it is a bit of a manual process.
Okay.
I mean, I imagine, I haven't done this in long years, but I imagine Best Savings has a way for you to download transactions, so that should.
Yeah.
That might help. You have to know how to deal with it.
Right.
All right, anything else? Next is the Friends report. And that came in.
Today.
Came in today, right, so.
I have a question on that. Did they really only make $38 in all of January?
Well, I think that's distinct from it's distinct from the bookstore.
Yeah, membership, that must be. just
Oh.
membership and
That's why I interpreted, I couldn't.
I haven't looked at
They
it.
said book sales and stuff like that and.
They didn't have any sales in, bookstores, that right? Right?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
why do they have book sales on there if it's not part of the bookstore?
Book sales is.
It-
Is the like.
Their events.
Yeah, their
Oh,
event stands. And I think if
Oh,
they're
yeah.
sorters by books,
Yeah,
I think they've been tracking it that way, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I just couldn't believe.
yeah, they
I mean,
also,
I've taken in more than $38 in one morning,
yeah,
for heaven's sakes.
yeah,
Yeah, that must be book sales outside of the
Outside of the
bookstore, so I
bookstore.
think if they did any pop-up book sale or.
That just
yeah, that's not like it.
raised my interest.
Later on in the report, Suki, it says that January was the best one yet with an income of 2,500.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't
Yeah,
believe
they say
how could they reconcile those two?
They said bookstore had a tough
Report.
month in January, that's what the development committee, but then it's one of the best January ever.
Yeah. So,
Right direction, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
yes.
Anything else about the Friends? Governance. We talked a little bit about some of that already.
My apologies to committee chairs about that, those will go out template within 24 hours. Yeah, the templates for the charters and sample charters from submission time. Yeah.
Policy and personnel. Busy. Busy agenda, you can see.
there's some note about staff aren't allowed to solicit or distribute literature. What is that?
That
What
was
is that?
That's a section. That was in the personnel policies, and that was a suggestion made by Sarah King.
In the draft.
In the draft. So we're not this was the first that we worked with her at all, and this is something we're not sure is needed at all. So it's premature to go into more detail at the
okay.
board level, but that is the minutes because we did talk about it. So.
Okay,
She presented, quite a bit of change.
The consultant?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was our first meeting with the consultant. and She's very informative, but it was a lot of,
Very
a lot of
knowledgeable.
detail, very knowledgeable,
Very
but it's like the committee's gonna need a meeting to just process the changes.
Uh-huh.
And that was one of them, so it's not clear that that's an issue that needs addressing, so.
And did we talk about asking if there should be a conflict of interest policy for employees?
Yes.
I mean, there's one for trustees.
Right.
Yeah.
We do that every year.
I think that's how that part of that came into the solicitation
Yeah.
piece. Was part of the conflict of interest, was part of looking at the staff code of conduct. We have a staff code of
Staff code,
conduct
yes.
in
Right.
already, so that was something that came out of that.
She did say, to start off the meeting, she was really impressed by what we had, which I thought
Yeah,
was really,
that's right.
we
Good
we
point.
should pat ourselves on that.
Yeah.
Oh, the last.
With the last
same
consultant,
person, yeah,
Yeah,
right, last
yeah.
time we did it, yeah,
Yeah.
very, very complimentary.
Okay. Anything else? Also in personnel. Move on to the treasurer's report. Anthony?
I will start with the value of the endowment. As of yesterday, March 9th.
Minute.
Get ready. 4 o'clock on the dot.
Okay.
$9,394,300. Yeah, I would just close your eyes and not look at that number. This is a bit of a rough market right now.
Yeah.
But could be worse. Could always be worse.
Mhm.
Did you get the number?
I did. Were there any cents?
We've only, yeah, I know, we've only put cents on there once,
Okay.
so I'm gonna omit the cents.
Yeah, I don't think we
Uh,
need it.
Yeah, yeah, we will omit the cents. Anything I need to discuss, we have already mentioned and will cover more. Does anybody have any questions regarding the cash report or P&L?
Okay. On to development.
Hey, thanks once again to Samantha for putting this together for me. The annual fund as of today is at $120,682. Plus $5,885 in open pledges. So please go along. There is John Patton Society Donor Coffee event happening tomorrow, the 11th at 9 a.m. in the reading room, and Friday, March 13th at 9 a.m. in the reading room. This consists of coffee, a few treats from Cafe Creme. Jack and Leslie will lead a tour through the library, and trustees are encouraged to attend if you're available at either of those times, tomorrow at 9 or Friday at 9. Nice opportunity to get a tour through the library if you haven't been through it in a while. Library Giving Day is April 1st. And we have 2 locations that we're doing this year. Last year, we just set up at Brackets. This year, we're doing both Shaw's and Brackets. Looks like we need coverage at Shaw's specifically this year. It's inside, it's not outside. If that's important to you. 1 volunteer needed for 1 to 3 p.m. and 2 volunteers needed for 3 to 5 p.m. So if anybody here has time on that day, it's a Wednesday, April 1st. Wear your fancy shirt, and please let Samantha know.
A note on the shirts, if a board member didn't tell me their shirt, I do have extras, which I will divvy out once the volunteers for Library Giving Day have
You
their
want to
opportunity.
show that maybe?
Yeah, it's very nice.
That's the same color I got.
Every staff member except for one,
I'm happy
I
with my
think,
choice.
responded, so
Oh, good.
hopefully on Library Giving Day, when you walk into the library as well, all the staff members will be wearing the Library Giving Day shirt, and I've got little bookmarks and there'll be donation stations. But we know, as last year, most of the gifts will happen offsite.
And I know the folks that manned the table last year, woman the table last year at Brackets, ended up saying it was a very pleasant experience. We just kind of
Yes.
chat with people and they asked questions in the library, they put money in the jar. It's very,
Serious.
very nice, very.
Yeah.
very-
Michael and I had a good experience. when we done it again.
I'll set the tables up or cooking, I'll have to divide and conquer this year because there'll be 2 tables, but we'll set them up. We'll have tablecloths, we'll have probably calendars, the upcoming monthly calendar, and just a few I've got some giveaways and stuff that will populate the table and fill it with candy and hopefully entice people over, stickers, yeah, anything that we can find around, we'll just throw on the table to give out. That stuff is very expensive, so. Yeah,
We don't have.
no, we've given them all away, so I bought some stuff though.
You better be.
Okay, so please let Samantha know if you are available on that day in the afternoon at Shaw's. We are also doing the gift card calendar raffle, which I've been emailing everybody about. Donations of gift cards before the end of this month. We get asked for to start today, because that gives us an idea of what we need to source for the difference. But please get them to the development team before the end of March, and then we'll run the raffle sales in April and May or June drawings. So the idea is that you have a drawing every day, the month of June.
This is what a gift card looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought mine.
It's on my
Yeah.
Start granting.
Yep.
Oh, here we go.
I turned it through.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
I have to say that, compared to anybody volunteering for a night at the Patent, this is really easy.
That was part of the strategy.
Yeah, and it's probably for most of us, you
I
know.
was waiting to see what other people turned in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Didn't want to duplicate.
Right.
I still mine in Brunswick, so.
Okay, right, spread them out over the month.
That's right,
Yeah, yeah. So thank you everyone in advance for participating in that. And you'll need to engage after the fact, after the calendars are ready by selling them. So that's a whole other.
So
Yeah,
drawings
I'll
and
give
the-
everybody like,
The drawings are.
you could raffle
Yes,
tickets
every
to
day.
either buy or sell to your friends and neighbors, and then we'll
Right.
figure out where else we're gonna sell them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I did this at Morse High School for the project graduation, we set up a table at brackets. And we could do that again.
Mhm.
with brackets.
They're
It's very
part,
open to this.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Graduation
it
is
was
there
like-
already.
It was so popular, like people that aren't even
Mhm.
weren't even connected to the high school, were just like, oh yeah. So it's a good way to do that, but social media. And with family.
Tickets are sold like in April, May,
Mhm,
and then
The drawings
they'll
are-
buy the tickets in June,
Oh.
draw in June.
mhm.
The park at graduation is the brackets now, so we want to make a space in between.
Yeah, in between, we'll probably do sometime in May, I think,
Okay.
because we wanna be away from the library giving day as well.
Right,
Mm.
okay. I got it.
Yeah, it's just, they're very amenable there, and Shaw's was super, way easier than I thought, so we could also, we found it was easy,
Let's
we
do
can
that.
get on, yeah, I figure the more the merry, and if there's any other spots in your communities, let me, well, except for Rouseck, but if you have like a spot where folks are gonna be, if there's an event going on, let me know, or let Eileen know, and we can think about adding, some outreach there as well.
I've previously worked with Ace Hardware first organization,
Yeah?
and they're always open to having tables.
Oh, excellent.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another.
Ace
that's
is
a-
the one that was
population.
half,
No.
Rockies, you mean?
Rockies.
Yeah.
Ace doesn't also.
Yeah.
Ace.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's True Value.
Ames,
Oh, that-
one's Ames.
That is
That's True Value.
Ames.
So they don't
Ames,
take them.
yeah.
They don't
Ames,
take the coupons.
but it's True Value.
Ace.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then spelling bee, we have the opportunity to hold the spelling bee in the next fiscal year in September this time. And the folks organizing the book bash, who have already reserved tents, will let us use their tents. So we'll have to pay for tents. for
And
this.
tables and chairs,
Tables and chairs.
Oh.
everything.
So it's a Friday evening, September 18th is what we're looking at, under the tents in the park out here. And we will need volunteers, and we need specifically a spelling bee committee chair. Similar to what we were asking for United Patent. But we need that in order to move forward in this event, and it's mainly organizing alongside, you're not by yourself, you're organizing alongside the development team. And it's mostly around sourcing items for the raffle and organizing volunteers.
Oh,
Is
do you
that fair
like-
to say?
Yeah, being the person to
Is that-
say, oh, we need to, get the volunteers motivated, send that email. Instead of me sending it, kind of that, and gathering silent auction items, which anybody who's been here before knows, I'll give you a long list of potential businesses, but it'd be.
Oh, yeah.
It would be really great to have somebody just managing that piece for me, so I can take care of the the nuts and bolts of the game, you know, making sure we get teams and making sure we sell tickets. So what I did was make an event chair write-up, and this is for everybody to look at, but also, I mean, if you're not interested, maybe you know a fourth grader that's interested, so this would kind of give you an idea of what's expected. And it's a lot.
I thought she said a fourth grader.
You're ready to take it on. I know at least eight.
Precocious fourth grade.
So please give
Yeah.
this some thought. This,
Yes.
this sheet kind of gives us everything you need to know about what would be involved.
What's the date?
It's September 18th. It's a Friday.
I haven't set time yet, but I'm thinking 6 to 8, which is I think what we've done the 6 to 8:30 in the past. It'll still be light out because it'll be September and it'll hopefully be warm.
Historically, it's lovely weather that day. That's when I
Yeah.
have my party at work. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's it.
I think it's super generous of the Book Bash to do this, and something that I've talked with Leslie a little bit about is offering them a free team slot
Oh, yeah.
for any authors, illustrators that are in the area for the next day might want to come on and have a spelling bee team. So I'm gonna propose that to her and see where that goes. And I already have a sponsor for a couple of teams.
Oh.
Have those ones that came in first all the time, have they graduated?
Yeah.
One of them might still be in
One's
this class.
still there, one's
So there's that other one person.
The ones we won last year, the
Yeah.
two, I know.
Still around?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also, the winners from the first bee, I might have nudged them a little bit. and
Taking out
said,
the competition by attrition.
I know.
And I'll,
The army.
I'll just add, Samantha's so highly organized, and you'll have such support with Samantha that it's going to be, you know, and we've done this twice now, so it's 3. We've had the B 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
Oh my gosh! So right, 3
great.
times. So it's a
Yeah.
well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
So I really feel that it shouldn't be a burden to anyone that.
A couple of hours a week. It's just honestly, with the campaign takes up all of my little bit of free time I could use for something like this. So just having somebody who I know, I can say, oh, we need to, you know, get the volunteers to pick slots for the night of, and they can send that email and, you know, do that little bit would be great.
Do you want to set a date by which you need to have person
Yeah.
in place?
Probably sooner rather than later. If it's in September, I'd like to really get planning underway the beginning of May. Because that would give me May, June, July, and August, which I feel is plenty of time.
April 15th, next day.
Yeah,
Next day.
Yeah, let's do tax day. There we go. By April 5th, by the next board meeting. How's that? By the next board meeting, we could get a volunteer. I promise it won't be too difficult. Promise I'll make it as easy as possible. And maybe somebody who's participated in the beat in the past. Or on the committee. Looking at you, Lori.
Oh, good. She's muted. Let's just nominate.
Voluntold.
Okay, that's it for me for development, unless anybody has questions.
In the report, I saw that there were links to the development plan for next year and then the fundraising calendar. Are those for information at this point?
Yeah, folks are more than like, you
Okay.
know, that's for the development committee. We had a really packed meeting, and so we didn't get to go through it. So I shared it with them. If you have any input ahead of time, that would be great. The development committee will be voting on it at our April meeting, and then we'll bring it to the board in May, and we're gonna do a line by line walkthrough just to make
Okay.
sure everybody is, you know, on the same page, and then you guys can vote in June. So if you have any input now, you know, send it
Yeah,
along.
actually, I was gonna say, I like the section on the stewardship strengthening, including standardizing some of the communication from the stewards and the messaging. I think that'll make it smoothly help people.
For those of you who've done some of the campaign stuff, that's a lot of what Rebecca spends her time on, which is like,
Yeah.
oh, you have to send an email. Here's some draft email
Right,
language.
right.
So I'll put that together to kind of make it a little bit
Yeah,
easier.
I thought that was
That's
great.
very helpful.
Yeah.
That's a good-
Yeah, it's super helpful, and I just have never done it because it's never really come up. We've had time, but now we don't. So,
Okay,
you know, I'd like to do that.
all right, thanks.
One
Oh.
question. I don't know what, I think this might be in the wrong place, but there was this piece that said that capital campaign summary, this
Oh, the budget?
Like this,
The budget.
yeah, is that already going by?
That's I'm giving you every month because we talked about it last month, just an idea of where we are spending with the capital campaign.
Yeah.
So that's just an informational piece each month that you'll be getting.
I just wanted to make sure that the endowment doesn't get forgotten. It looks like it's.
Oh, it will
but
get,
it
at
looks
the
like-
end,
This
it's like
is-
we're doing the 3 buckets and then it'll all be divided up, and at the end, that will probably, transfer a large amount into the endowment, I'm presuming.
That's more on the spending side of
It's on
it,
there
yeah.
on page 3,
Don't worry, it won't get forgotten.
last 2 lines on the.
Yeah.
No, on the other side. No. Yeah, the last 2 lines of the endowment. the
Yeah, right,
500,000.
500, that way, it's sort of. It's up.
Yeah.
It's like an afterthought.
It'll be there.
And after
It's not an afterthought, and
It's
it-
gonna be
and
really
it's
important.
us. It could be
I would
more.
listen to them.
That's
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
yes,
If
yeah.
there are questions on that, should we be, that's really part of the capital campaign report, right? So
That's
that
what we
should be,
did.
that's when we should be talking about this particular document, because I think this comes
Or-
out every month.
That's a finance.
It's a finance report, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
just
just-
didn't, that's, okay. so I
Yeah, let's
Didn't
do
know
that.
where to put it, so,
Okay,
thank you.
moving on to town area school activities. Well, on the 12th, it was on Thursday, I was in meeting with the West Bath Budget Committee. That a number of us will be attending. And so that's the thing that's on the immediate horizon. Leslie, do you have anything? Is there anything else with the communities, these types of meetings with other of the municipalities?
No, we met with Mullich last week.
Right. Right.
And Tommy and Allison were there with their select board hats on. And
Oh, well, how did it go?
I think, well, I'll ask, it goes how it normally goes, which I think is good.
Yeah.
So I guess that's okay.
I was there too. I thought it was very
Good.
businesslike and they had a few questions, informational type questions and all of that.
I mean, as select people, we never like to see numbers go up.
No.
Right? True.
Well, the income line we like to see.
Yes.
Yeah, no. But no, it went well smoothly.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Right.
So there weren't a lot of questions about the increase, there wasn't an issue with the.
Well, I'm not saying it wasn't an issue, it just they didn't ask a lot of questions about
It's all about who shows up at town meeting.
Right.
Right.
Right, yeah, it's
because
that's the vote.
good or bad, the select board or 5 votes or however many people, it's 1 vote per person, so as we know.
And
so
it was
it's-
pretty clear they don't, I mean, any of us saying something is not necessarily like with this way, a vote
Right.
one way or another.
Right. It's a formality. Not that it's not for, I'm happy to answer any questions, but we're there to make sure. But it's really the town meeting.
So accountability for us, right? People ask like, it's, why is this more? And like I said, well, they can't, we tell people that's, on the budget committee agenda. Nobody showed up, right? I mean, from the public?
No.
No. Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's also for accountability, so the public can come.
Yes, yeah, and also for us, it's like, well, because there was a while, I think, where they. This organization, I don't know if it was you, had not been coming, not been invited, maybe, and.
There was a time even
Yeah.
where we weren't
Yeah.
invited for a few years,
Yeah,
but it was a weird,
yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah, so it's. good.
right.
So
And-
this was the town meeting or the finance meeting?
It's the select board.
They don't
Yeah.
have a finance. They don't,
Yeah, the
budget.
yeah, they don't have a separate budget committee. I mean, and my purpose is always the same. It's for them to understand I'm not there to change anybody's mind. I'm there to make the request, make sure they understand. And, I do, while it's important, but everyone is one, town meeting is where it counts. And that's where we're gonna put our energies.
All right. That's that, and nothing. Move on to old business. First item, warming and cooling center. We have a number of documents, some of which we've seen before. I think Suki, you had a question about was it the legal
Yeah,
review?
because.
That was one of mine too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I heard from
And
the,
insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I heard from the insurance broker we now are, now that Spencer Gray Insurance is no more, they've sold their customers are J. Edgar Knight, is that right?
Mhm.
Yes, but Elizabeth Gray is still our rep. So I talked with Elizabeth and she has no concerns. I sent her the MOU. I am still waiting for Judy. She has it and she said she's going to take a look at it. So I am waiting for Judy's response. And you have, I sent it out this afternoon. I wanted to make sure all the staff had enough time to respond. But I can tell you, so it's also on the Google Drive. We got 12 responses. To summarize, all of them were positive. There wasn't one that said we shouldn't do it.
Page, it was like a one page.
It came this
This
afternoon.
afternoon.
It
Oh,
didn't
so
come till this
separate, okay.
afternoon. It was a separate document with just the email comments.
Okay.
So there were 12 responses. You have the wording, you have all of the responses. They were all positive and said, yes, we should do this. The concerns were mostly around making sure we had enough staff. Should we get a lot of people coming in? And then the others were just about expectations of people being, should we consider being open longer hours if it's an extreme temperature day? So those, you can read those, but those are really, but it was an overwhelming, every single said, yes, we should absolutely do this. This is part of what we already do. But so you can take a look at these, but I did gather the responses and they were all very enthusiastic, very, very.
Although they did raise questions, which we've raised too as well, about the burden on staff and whether you think it's manageable.
Right, which is what I said. They're concerned about whether there's enough staff on any given day, right.
So they were, well, my point is that they were in favor of it, but they had some reservations too, as to how it would affect the library operations. And the suggestions of having to extended hours, I think is, my first thought, that's problematic, because then there are additional costs going.
Right, they're not saying we should, they just was suggesting, should we consider, is that,
I think Hannah's point was well taken too. If this room is not generally manned, so
Yeah.
if there's not an planned activity in there, it's usually just sort of floats.
Right.
But the person that mentioned the community room, this was before we had air conditioning, so it was the one place that we turned on the air conditioning and let people come up in, so we don't need to do that anymore. That situation doesn't exist.
Right.
Because the whole building is air conditioned.
Right.
So we normally don't even have the community room open. And we don't have to have that room open because they can go anywhere, so.
Also, Mary said, her observation that she looked at other places across the state and they don't usually extend their hours.
Yeah.
I thought that was really helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
I noticed in the memo, that the report has to be
Yes.
written and submitted every time they're open.
Right.
And so I just wondered about that. That would be a staff person also. That would have
Right.
to
It's a
do
daily
that.
utilization
It's a
report.
daily-
Yeah, I mean, that's something we'd have to work out. We'll figure, I'm not sure that I'm looking at John because I don't know the full reporting. It's a little different for us because we're open. We don't necessarily know who's coming in just to get warm, who saw an announcement somewhere. So I will certainly be talking with the county about
That's
that.
something we have to talk with.
Right. Those details shouldn't get in the way of a decision because I'm sure we can work that out.
We've done this.
They do want the reporting they asked for. I don't know the details, but my recollection was that it's a pretty light touch.
Mhm.
They're not asking for a lengthy elaborate report.
Uh-huh.
And they recognize that some things that they might be interested in, like statistics on usage, we can't give them because we don't ask about
Right.
it.
Don't
Yeah,
know.
So
Right.
they won't know,
Yeah.
and they're fine with it.
Okay. I just wondered because I assume they would like to collect data.
So,
And
yeah.
It's hard. That's hard work for us, so.
Right. So what I don't have yet is Judy's response, but has the MOU and is going to be getting back to me about that. But we have the other two pieces. So just
And
share that with you.
has there been some thought, there was also message and language about the facility being a possible family reunification center? And I wondered what your thoughts were about that.
I don't think we were looking, I think we were just looking at warming and cooling
The
center.
PFA Committee have recommended against going.
Okay,
I think.
Partly because it's a significant added burden on the
Yeah.
library.
Yeah.
And partly because the county doesn't feel a need for it. They have those kinds of facilities. So they were really only interested in the warming and
Okay.
cooling center, and in particular, the cooling center.
okay. No, that was my thought. It gave me pause a little bit, because I didn't know additional responsibilities outside of the normal stuff. Okay, that's good. Clarify that. That's fine. Okay,
So what action does the board need to take? We're gonna wait for Judy and then.
Yeah.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll report, I guess next month then, when I have Judy's.
Yeah.
Comments.
we'll do that.
Okay, will do.
Okay, next item of old business, we talked about before, and the policy personnel committee spent a lot of time on, as you saw. The student library cards, that is particularly library cards for students who reside outside of the library's service area.
Actually,
No, it's the
it's a different
opposite.
wording. Yeah, so that's kind of evolved. So I'm gonna make a stab
Okay.
at this. It's this, from Mary's initial request, which was
Okay.
on November 28th, the policy and personnel committee was tasked with just exploring
Okay.
the situation. So we gave it three meetings, and I think in each meeting it was at least half an hour of discussion. And we, or more, and we circled, and I'm gonna go ahead and summarize, is that we are not coming forward with a recommendation, so I'm sorry about that, I thought. But we weren't tasked with to write a policy, we were really just to flesh out, the situation, so first of all, there's been some evolution of some of the wording, and I think, I'm just gonna refer to the packet today, which has the statement that's come from the staff with signatures. And so I think that's an important part of it. And as a whole, I think there was consensus from the committee that there is a strong feeling of support from the library staff of the efforts of increasing accessibility. There is literally I didn't get any sense of disagreement about that. Where the sticking point, and I guess I should say the wording of it is having, it's not so much, it's having the, and I'm gonna get my tongue tied here. But it's the inclusive access for all students, so that it would be having library cards for all students who attend schools in served areas. So,
No, because, well, unless you took off the Fitchburg Elementary School?
yes, that was
Yes.
error.
That was error, okay.
And that is not in the packet currently that went out to the board. There was a mistake in the list. of
Yeah,
the
that's right,
schools.
okay. just-
So that was
Okay,
corrected.
that's right.
So that did come up at this last meeting. I think the minutes from our last meeting probably summarize, the best. But again, I want to say that we really honor the efforts and the data that was collected to, support the position of, from the library staff. And I think the idea of having accessibility, having equity, I don't think anybody felt any argument there. The problem is there's a timing issue, we're in budget season, and it is difficult because of the served communities are paying, and some students that would be attending the schools would be in served communities. And what got fleshed out further was not just the public schools, but homeschool, private schools.
Mhm.
And the specific private schools were outlined, one's in Norwich, two are in Bath. That would be part of that, because they would be in the schools that they're involved in are in
Yes,
served.
it's like 70.
But what we circled around and around about was Pittsburgh, because that's where, those are the students that, and that's the community that is not participating. And I don't think that's anticipated to happen. It circled around that we should consider reapproaching, but they are putting funds into their own library, so, and that wasn't specifically part of that discussion. Let's see if I'm sharing. Oh, yeah, let me just a few things and then I'll open it up, because I'm gonna look for support from anybody else, committee members and library staff as well. There were efforts to look at what other local libraries do, and that does leave a consideration of the student card at a reduced rate, but that would be a compromise at the position and not honoring what the librarians have requested. It's reminded that all RSC1 teachers currently receive cards from Patent Free Library. That the history of that is unclear. That is the and in there's no written policy of that anywhere, but it is the current practice. Let's see. We are just getting ready to go to West Bath to ask for an increase, and a number of members of our committee are from the smaller municipalities. So there's an issue of the fairness, and I think we just couldn't resolve it.
We should say that the head of the West Bath Select Board, who's a member of the policy or something,
Exactly.
expressed significant reservations that he felt that we sum up, there would be not reservation towards giving the students of non-contributing communities free library cards, no cost library. I'm just saying that, and of course, we're meeting with West Bath budget people on Thursday.
But not the select board.
It's
No. It's the fine,
it's their budget advisor. Yeah.
So that's just, the timing is.
It's the timing, it's the optics.
Yeah.
And this is, West Bath's had a history of being, a challenging relationship. We still hope their efforts to improve that, but I mentioned the issue of compromise, but we did not really take it for a vote. But everybody did speak. I mean, I can certainly say what my opinion is, but I'm speaking to the committee as a whole. So it comes back to the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it says in the proposal, it says students attending schools in our service area. So under what circumstances would that be somebody that doesn't already have access to the library? I mean, somebody that's going
They have
to.
their.
I can answer that.
Middle school and high school.
It would be so students Fitchburg Elementary students would not get a card until they go to a school that is in, so when they go to Bath Middle School.
Students going to Morris.
When they,
Middle school and high
right,
school.
or if they choose not to go to the elementary school, then they
But
would.
somebody that doesn't live in Woolwich, that goes to Chalk Point School, they would be able to get one too, under that proposal.
Right, if they attend any school that's in our service. So then with homeschooling, it has to be an organized homeschool. It's not just anybody it's not that simple. Like if you're homeschooled and you live in our service area, you're eligible for a card. Only a organized homeschool that's in our service area. I don't know a licensed homeschool. I don't know how that works in Maine. They're different. So
same by the department.
certified homeschool in our service area. Those students are eligible. If it's just a family that homeschools and they live in Damascotta, that's different. It's not the same thing.
Has there been any, has Pittsburgh been approached about the issue and how, I don't know who would be in Pittsburgh, but how they feel about their kids not being able to get a library card? I mean, do they know about this issue? Is it worthwhile talking to someone
I
there?
think it raises the whole issue of how to approach Pittsburgh at all.
I mean, in terms of joining the library, but
Right, but who,
there are then kids in Pittsburgh who can't get a library card at Patton. And
Is that the
just
current
wonder-
situation?
They can get a card.
Get a Pittsburgh library.
Yeah.
But when they come to.
But they know that already in this current situation is that they're not eligible to get a card.
Okay.
So this would be a change.
Right, no, I know they're not eligible. I'm talking
But that
about,
doesn't-
I don't know whether it be the school board in Pittsburgh or what, I just wonder if there's been any dialogue and say this is a dilemma for us, maybe not, I don't know the whole whatever, but I'm just, Pittsburgh keeps coming up and it's their kids, so. What would the
They
school
don't
board?
have a
if there's-
sense of-
Totally on board with Peggy, where Peggy's going now. I really think we should have a collaborative effort with Pittsburgh to sort out the right solution. Because just sort of saying we're gonna give Pittsburgh kids free cards is kind of, it's almost like saying you guys made a mistake not funding the library 10 years ago, and we're just gonna do it anyway. You know, it's not, that doesn't feel like the right thing to do, at least, in terms of the politics of it and the values that Pittsburgh expressed. When they said, we're only gonna give you 25,000, not the 35,000 that you asked for. You know what I mean? So.
If I may, in looking at this list of the public schools listed, the second one listed is Bath Tech. Bath Tech sending schools are Boothbay, Wiscasset, Lincoln Academy, and what did I miss? Morse. So in this scheme
Oh, I hadn't
scenario,
realized that. Yeah.
Mhm.
we were saying that students that live in Boothbay, Newcastle,
Right.
Wiscasset.
Those kids are bussed right out at the end of the day.
Right.
My son was in it, like.
Right,
don't
but if they,
stick
but
around.
if they walk up to the school and say, hey, I just read this letter that said I could get a,
Yeah.
a card, and it's also the appearance. I'm more concerned about the appearance to our municipalities about this, so now we're
that's-
saying that students in Boothbay, Newcastle, I think there's a few other
Yeah.
little tiny towns that we're missing.
Exactly, right, that's why when you talk about Pittsburgh, it's not just Pittsburgh, there are other students. That's why I don't want to just say Pittsburgh, there might be a Brunswick student that goes to Morris High School for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
there's even school choice.
I was just saying, you have to do a choice.
Yeah, we did, but I think the numbers are higher. because
I
of
think-
Pittsburgh, but-
I would just like to add one thing, I think if the board could focus on the letter that the staff wrote and focus on the principal. Whether you agree with the principal, everything else sort of will work itself
I
out.
think, I hope I make that clear in the minutes of the report, because that was totally the consensus of the committee.
Right,
That
is
we
if,
totally supported their, and we understood their position, and we valued their input.
Yeah.
So I think that was, I hope that was in the minute.
and that's,
No?
yeah, I mean, I think,
Trustee that doesn't agree that everyone should have a library.
Well, I think
card.
that's.
Right,
I
yeah,
think it's the vision, and I think of the visioning that we did, and I think the idea of more foot traffic coming through here, it's all good. I mean, it just makes so much sense, and so. I think one expression we were talking about, the library 10 years from now, it's like. I mean, if I was pushed to vote now, I started swinging because I feel like, yeah, I mean, of course we should be doing this, but. We are faced with this fun, it's the optics, the timing.
Well, I really think. Well, you are, but that's where I think your
I-
point is really important. If I could simplify it down to a simple statement, I'd say that the issue in front of us should not be whether a child that comes in the door wanting a card can get a card. That should be a no-brainer. The issue is how to make it happen, not whether. So. Right there.
Yeah, well, the devil is how you make it happen. It's fair, it takes into account the financial and the political
I
issues.
understand.
yeah.
I mean, it's great to agree in principle, but how do you imply consensus? And sometimes that can prevent a principle from being implemented. No, I'm not saying recommending that, but
And also it bothers me that the teachers have cards regardless of where.
Yeah.
I mean, if the kids don't have cards, the teachers should.
I
have
never
cards.
heard that before.
I
didn't
that,
either.
Website.
that
Is it
really,
really?
that really bothers me from the beginning, I mean.
I've been here 12 years.
Since before.
yeah, it's
before last
just, it's
Yeah.
the way it's been since I've been here, that was just
Yeah,
an inherited thing,
that's-
but.
That's unfair.
that is the case in other libraries too. The teacher, we've got the comparison with Curtis, with Freeport, for example. And here in Skinelta. So that's standard practice.
I don't know about the
With-
numbers.
Libraries that have different funding models and we just.
Right.
Right, this is the South.
Skinelta has the same.
Do they do?
Yeah, they get Damerscott municipal funding, and then I think it's Bristol and
Wait.
Newcastle are there.
But yeah, but those are all in their served areas, the service area.
Are inside the policy, it's a grant probably.
I mean,
It's a
practice.
The teachers
I didn't know
before
that.
my time, so I don't know how that came about. It's just been
How long have you been here?
16 years.
Would there be a special fund? Not a library. Or, town supported, but I don't know, contributed some kind of fund that. No, I'm not quite sure how it would work. I'm trying to think of something where there'd be some money, but it wouldn't be library,
Who would give the
It
money?
should be
No.
from Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
maybe somebody would donate,
Yeah.
We need to have a conversation with the other towns that will
Yes.
benefit from doing this.
Yeah.
And just figure out together how to make it happen.
Yeah.
And how to do it such that particularly West Bath and Woolwich don't get put off by the fact that they're subsidizing library cards for towns that have opted out of funding the library.
Right.
But then there's like the high school. Yeah.
Yeah, higher,
Connecticut.
Right, but they live here, right? They live on
They're-
campus, so.
Yeah.
they're
In a-
eligible.
in a
But that's in the other, the South Point, and they don't live there, do they?
The reality is
No.
we're subsidizing every single person that has a card. It costs so much more to run this library than the $26 or the $23 that we get.
Yeah.
We are subsidizing with our endowment, with the fundraising that we do.
Right,
Exactly.
because municipal's 40%, so.
So I-
60% of services. would
That
be-
that argument only goes so far with me because we're really doing it for ourselves. We are raising so much of the money to operate this library.
Right.
If they were paying, if it was a municipal library, I could see it. If then they were paying 90% of our budget. But they're not.
Yeah.
I guess I want to inspire everyone to think about what kind of library do you want to be? What kind of library do we want to be? Do we want to be a library that's hamstrung because we're fearful that we're going to lose a town because is that the library we want to be? And I just hope everybody asks that question of yourself.
We have,
You know,
we have to be responsible about how we fund stuff.
Yeah.
We can't just give away everything to anybody that we think deserves it.
I don't think we're doing that.
Does everybody feel there's enough data? Because that was one thing that we got into, because I felt like, what numbers are we really talking about? I think there's one statement here so I guess I would wonder from the board if you feel like we should ask for more information with that. But I think the committee got to a point, we spent a lot of time, I don't think more information was going to help us with the conundrums about the funding, the visibility of municipal funding. They have less than 120 students.
Wait, say that again, Dawn?
Less than 120 students.
That go to RSU one or that
In
go to
middle-
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah, but
it's-
Pittsburgh Elementary is like.
In
100
middle
kids.
and in Morse, together?
The students that go to the elementary schools are less than 120.
Right.
Right, so.
And,
In RSU one, it's 192 Pittsburgh students, the whole of RSU.
Okay, okay.
Just see.
Yeah, right, that's right.
Okay.
Another thing maybe to consider. This will be an upcoming topic is that there's been some talk of when the new elementary school builds in Bath. In absorbing Pittsburgh into that as well.
Yeah, I can speak on that a little because I was at the committee meeting, so they've got, so one thing I didn't know is they are gonna combine the two elementary schools into one. And then Patrick Manuel said there is having very loose conversations currently with Pittsburgh about whether or not they would want to add into that, because there is only 120 students in their school, so nothing's been decided, but those conversations have definitely started.
I'd be very
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
Patrick said, he would be both surprised and not surprised, having worked there. He said, I'm sure there's a group that would, want to stay with their own school, but there's also a group that could see the benefit of moving. So it'll be,
Okay.
I think as the library, we understand, it'll be a nuanced conversation,
Yeah.
but is a conversation happening.
The state offered that, and put that on the table, because Phippsburg is now on the list too, and
Right.
you could be on the list in maybe 25, 30 years.
The list for what, for
Yes.
new schools?
Yeah.
You can make the list, but it could be another 20 or 25, 30 years before.
Right.
Twenty
Yeah.
students, how, is it a K six or K eight or K?
Yeah.
Through five only.
Well, what about this idea that's been floated about having a discussion, informal discussion with Pittsburgh? And we couch it in terms of this is the current situation, we'd like to address it. And we've talked about it, it's a thorny problem. What are your thoughts about how to resolve it, or what is your input or comments? I mean,
That's my first question.
I mean, I am great friends with the new town administrator. He's the newest person there. He doesn't, and he's getting thrown into a lot of stuff, but I don't mind, I've known him long enough that I don't mind starting a conversation with him, but who would be a good person to talk to?
What about the library? At the top of it?
I
no,
I don't
That'd
know.
be-
But yeah, yeah.
Who would know better than,
She hasn't been the librarian for
no.
very long.
Less than a year, I think.
That could be a joint meeting with some board members and
Workshop.
workshop titles.
Yeah, and I think to your point earlier, I think we have a responsibility to our serve committees, but I also think we have a responsibility to be respectful of Pittsburgh as well, because especially if it's a point that they've decided not to choose, and then we're just trying to sort of force the issue. I think at least needs to be a conversation.
to me, we've sort of exhausted the options and talked about it within ourselves, and now it's time to get some fresh thoughts about it, or talk to the people who do that.
There has been a lot of discussion. I don't want to see the topic go away, so I just don't know what do we do from this meeting? I'm trying to say, do we look for a motion to table till budgets are done? Because I completely agree with what Leslie was saying. And the aspirational part of me is like, let's just do it. So
Yeah.
it's very frustrating. But I'm just not sure at the board level, how do we carry the conversation, or what are the next steps? What are the action steps from this? It takes time it's complicated.
Well,
The
you should have a representative group, someone does someone know the librarian at Pittsburgh? I don't know, Leslie, do you have any professional contacts from her, or does Elizabeth?
To the school library in the Pittsburgh Elementary School?
No.
Wait.
Public library.
But
So,
Toddler.
I can talk, I'm happy to talk to the children's library.
and what would tell me that what we hope the outcome of the conversation to be?
How could we get all your kids' library cards?
Yeah.
We want to give them library cards.
Right, if they're attending an RN one or a school in our.
To me, I think it's a bigger conversation with select board, and I don't think it's just the librarian. And I really think,
This particular select board, I'm friends here, right? I don't think this particular select board will be especially receptive.
I don't
Going
think
directly
have,
to the library almost seems like a backdoor, like,
Yeah.
I feel like it
Okay.
needs to be, authority to authority.
right,
For
I
lack
don't,
of better terms, I can
Right.
see
Mhm.
going straight to the library and something being,
Yeah,
as a select person, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
they've
would
taken a
appreciate
position.
Okay,
right.
so you're saying go to someone,
Select board.
select board?
Yeah, I would start it at the town level.
I would be happy to at least talk to the town administrator, and I know all of the selectmen. But I would just start with Evan, and I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to understand the outcome of what
I
we're
know, what-
hoping. What are we hoping to accomplish? They made a decision not to fund. We either want them to fund again, or we're just pushing this this issue down the road. To me.
It's question, how do we?
I don't know.
To figure out a way of collaborating, like maybe we can do something like build a partnership with their
Yeah.
library.
But it isn't just Phippsburg. We've got Brunswick students, we've got Wiscasset students. It's like what we're asking for is students in our service area. It's beyond Phippsburg. It's broader than that. I get that the majority may be here, but it's more than just Phippsburg.
It sounds like what you're saying is you're concerned about what you're gonna have to go back and say to all the other people that are now not being covered.
Actually, I'm not concerned about it.
Tell us what you really.
Well, I mean, because I sit in these meetings and I'm the one that gets, but I have I think we have a story to tell about why it's important.
This all started from Mary proposing is that
mean-
when these kids come and they.
It's not new. This isn't a new,
Right now, so we're trying to address it.
So Mary sees the kids, so they're mostly elementary kids then, right? And I thought Phippsburg kids go to their own elementary.
I think they
school.
just choice. I
Okay,
think
so-
there's some-
No.
They don't have school choice, but I think they can.
So then,
Do they take it?
And so
I did.
that some of the kids that Mary sees and that we're never going to be able to get those kids cards. There are kids that we're not going to be able to get cards. So yes, but what Mary's seeing is some kids that will come for in classes that like when they come for visits and for class visits. She does get some middle school kids that'll come for a
middle
class.
school.
She'll get, right, because we don't really have a librarian that does middle school, because we don't have a teen librarian either. So she does get those kids. It's mostly when they come for classes and she'll send home the applications. And then those kids that don't live in our member towns cannot get a card. But Phippsburg doesn't come to our library for first grade visits.
Right.
So that's not really it. But there are students that come from Phippsburg to get a card and we turn them away, and that isn't going to change with
Send a note
this.
home with their parents.
Right.
To their parents.
But that's not going to change with this.
Have you thought about just making it on a requested basis? The student that comes in and requests, you can provide it. We don't have to actually maybe go to Pittsburgh and ask the selectmen and talk about this, just on a case-by-case basis. For a kid.
Well, that's what we'd be doing if we had, the board would have to approve that we can just.
Yeah, but you don't have to engage in this larger discussion, is what I'm saying, where you're asking the selectmen,
But
I
that-
want you to.
The whole funding problem though is fundamentally, if someone stands up at the town meeting in Woolwich and says, I understand they're giving free cards to people that don't fund the library.
Right,
And that,
that's a
there
hard.
goes, and so that is gonna
Exactly.
destroy the library's funding. You're gonna lose the supporting
Yeah, I
municipality.
understand.
And if you
Well,
lose
then
that, you lose staff,
we-
and you lose programming. So I mean, that's just.
So you,
it's-
and that ultimately is bad for the
Right.
community.
But we do provide services to people that don't fund the library now.
Absolutely.
The programs, they come in and get reference help, and we don't turn
They
anybody
use the
away.
computer, they sit in the reading
Right.
room,
Yeah,
and they
right.
come from all.
They use our toilet
They
paper,
don't.
they use,
They don't-
what do you mean? Anybody can walk in, they use our services, they get reference help.
Some of the scripts.
Yeah,
So
yeah, what anything.
They
you
just
can,
can't
but not-
borrow,
not
but they
from-
can talk, they can get reference help, they can go see Jack,
Yeah,
they can
it's
spend
good.
an hour with Jack, and that's his time. That it costs money.
The
to
AARP
know.
program, Leslie, the
Excuse
AARP
me?
program.
The tax
Right.
program.
Yeah.
Everybody who's coming
Right.
through.
Most of the people don't live in your service area. We serve everybody.
Well,
And you know what happened at town meeting last year? Somebody said, wait a minute, I can go in there for nothing?
It's just gonna say.
Yeah.
Right, I mean,
You just can't borrow, but you can do anything else.
It's like, well, if I don't need a library card to enjoy your services, then why are we doing this at all?
Yeah.
Because books are part of our.
Well,
Because
I know that and. you know
like,
that.
yeah,
Because it's a partnership. It's because having a library in your town.
Right.
But that's the story we have to
Funny.
tell.
That's fun.
That's how we have
That's
to
what I would
change
say.
our
Fun
message.
services.
Yeah, I want to, one thing, so staff works for the library. We don't work for a funding model. I know you guys have to use the funding model, but it seems to me that the library principal should be driving whatever change you make in the funding model. and not vice versa. So I think staff put everything into the documents that we provided, and then we're just asking for some guidance here because there is no policy. This policy doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's a practice, and we're asking, can we change the practice based on principle? So
Staff is mission driven, right?
Right.
Our work is the mission. and-
So is the board.
Right, and so is the board, exactly. Your job is to make sure our mission is.
right.
And we are doing what our mission says.
Sadly, the funding model doesn't support the mission.
Mhm.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's where that's the whole, that's the crux of the problem, crux of the problem.
I just firmly believe strong libraries need strong communities, and I agree with you. I mean, as a practicing librarian, you serve. It's a service profession. The library is here to serve. And unfortunately, we're caught in the middle of, we have a unique finance model that flies in the face of, we don't, but we swear to this pledge of service no matter what. And working in a school, high school, some of my students in the summertime develop to check out books. The school libraries were closed, and high school libraries were really well funded. But we closed during the summer, and students can check out books and take with them for the summer. But they read all of that, and our students from Pittsburgh would love to come to the patent-free library because their friends hang out there. And it becomes a social thing, and they're denied that resource. And Pittsburgh has their own library, but because of their funding issues, they can't get a lot of things that they could here, and that's a dilemma.
They actually they could, by interlibrary loan, they could request, they could do it.
Right. They actually can, yeah, they can order some.
Technically,
They
but
could.
No, yeah,
technically, yes,
it's not the same thing.
it's not the
No,
same
it's not,
thing.
I know it's not. the same.
Right, and you defy that immediate gratification that.
Yeah, teens.
Yeah,
Kids.
and that's,
Yeah,
that's.
send a kid home to order a book.
To order,
online. They don't
yeah.
already.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They're in the line.
So if we were to decide to give the kids cards, how much, excuse me, how much of a risk do you think we take with those two communities that seem to be an issue about funding? If we were to say, we want to go ahead, we're just, we're gonna take a risk.
Can't you see people in Georgetown saying the same thing?
Yeah, I was thinking,
Yeah.
just
They're
have-
only around six. That would make twice as much.
Well, Think of town meeting. Do you think that the supporters of town meeting say, oh, you're giving cards, so we're no longer going to support? I don't think so. I actually think it's going to put her in a stronger
Would they
position.
know?
Yeah.
Even?
Yeah.
Yes.
definitely.
Well, yeah.
Jack, listen.
Eavesdropping on
Behind.
yours. Sort of on this topic, my thought is that, I mean, sat through many a Woolwich town meeting at this point and heard all the debates with the library funding, is every year, even without doing this, we still have the same people who say, oh, we shouldn't fund the library. It's just a musty old building full of books. We should give it to the EMTs instead. The same people always still take issue with it, and no argument we've made for them yet has prevented them from raising a fuss about it. But I think making the moral case for libraries that this is why we do what we do is, like Leslie, that's actually a stronger position to argue from. Like, this is why you should support libraries. They are a public service and a public good. And that's what we're doing in fighting for it. If people defunded us based on that, that's very sad. And maybe that's a bridge that maybe we would regret going forward with that. But I would like to think that the whole point of being a public library and functioning the way that we do is that we are operating on those moral grounds and providing this service. And that would be the case that we could make to the towns. We just have to do it proactively and not try to look like we're hiding anything about what we're doing, but say we're doing this and it is because we feel strongly that it is the right thing to do as a library.
And do we make that a moral argument to Pittsburgh too?
Well, no, but unless we're asking them for a funding request.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go to Pittsburgh.
We're not asking them for
Why?
funding requests
But
unless we,
Why aren't?
Right.
that's a board decision.
That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's a legitimate question.
it is.
Well, then it might sweeten the deal if we made our policy change and said we now accept, your students. Wouldn't you like their parents to be able to get card? Because we are only saying this is
or
for
the
kids.
other.
This is not for adults. This isn't for their siblings if they don't go there, right? This is just for the one child.
The child to get their parents' books.
But
And they could, but then again, how is that bad for us? More books get.
Right.
Right, like our
Well, some of
statistics
them-
get better.
yeah, some of the other libraries that do have, at least on paper, have rules against that.
Yeah.
It's just for the student.
Is there any
Yeah,
quid
yeah.
pro quos? Like, is this ever connected to what the community gives? To the other communities, unlike Pittsburgh, people that are currently paying us. Right? That it's not like we're covering your students and that's why you're paying. I mean, is that,
No, they're paying per capita for every
so it's
resident.
not apples and oranges that we're
No.
comparing. And maybe that's how you approach it. Maybe you do go ahead and say, we are gonna cover you. And couldn't cover other communities. And if you want to be selfish and not provide us with
Right.
resources, that's your choice. I hope you feel good about
Hey.
yourself.
Shame.
It's unfortunate.
I mean, I think the discussions we've had in the past about trying to bring Fitchburg back into the fold, we did this, which morally, I agree, it's a good thing, it would be a good thing to do. To deny a child standing at your counter a book because they live in Fitchburg, it seems like a real bummer. But, we would have to, I think we basically have to give up hope that Fitchburg would ever come back into the fold, because we've talked about the fact that it has to start there, like it has to start with parents being like, I want to be able to get books, my kids want to be able to get books, let's rejoin the Patrick Library. But now they can basically say, why would we need to do that? How should we do that until we get books anyway?
I did confirm with Mary, even though she's left, and she said there are a ton of Pittsburgh grade school kids who attend Fisher Mitchell or Dyke.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
there are.
So they probably pay to come or whatever, just want their kids to go to the different, but she said, yes, it's not middle school, it is grade school.
Okay.
She's having to turn it
So
away.
then they would, if
Oh.
they attended a school in our
Yeah.
service area with this,
That would be.
then they would get cards.
Except, yeah, and those that don't attend the school, the service will be charged. It's too unworkable. I think. That's 22.
It is. It's really kind of issue. That's funny.
Yeah,
There's no easy answer.
And this-
I just really wish that we could separate Phippsburg out from this
Yeah.
because, and look at the bigger picture. If we just, it's really, the issue is any student that goes to school in our service area. There could be 10 from Brunswick, there could be 10 from Wiscasset. I know Phippsburg is probably the largest. It's just the principle of it. I would really suggest getting away from from it being primarily Phippsburg and focusing on the principle of the idea, no matter where they go to school, no matter where they live. Just,
Are there other libraries that do that?
yes, if you look at the list of what the different libraries do, that's why we included that in there. What other libraries surrounding are doing.
Curtis has to get buy-in from more towns.
They're all support schools. And because we support schools, we support literacy. And because we support literacy, anybody who attends a RSU school, we celebrate that community of reading and that community of critical thought and that community of learning. Because if the teachers, I'm still wrestling with that.
Right, I don't know how that came about.
It is, if you are in attendance, RSU one school.
Well, it's not just RSU one, because there are others. There are other schools in our service area.
So
Yes.
if you're affiliated with the school in the service area, this is who we are. I'm wrestling, it was, adults who may live in Augusta or South Portland who teach in our service area get a free card. Well, we switched the narrative that if you are in attendance in one of our service school areas, this is just what we do because we support literacy, which is a big push from the state right now with the new literacy proposal with the DOE. Do we say we celebrate learning, we support schools, we are in this together and leave it at that. I'm just throwing that out there. I also see the point being resident staff and attending the town meetings, somebody gets a breath of this and they, well, some people just go with it, but I'm wrestling with if teachers and staff members and administration have that privilege. Why are we denying a portion of our kids?
And I don't know that, yeah, I don't know why, because I don't know how that originated.
Teachers, like that's a closed town. There might be more teachers from Pittsburgh than there are kids even, like that's definitely.
Yeah, I have an issue with, from the beginning, when I saw the teachers get cards, I feel Pittsburgh too.
Yeah.
And you said it very well, that we had, real supporting education in schools and everything. But again, why deny for giving part of the school access? Why are we denying another part of the school access? That's where I come down on, we should go ahead and allow kids to get cards.
It's not inclusive, it's exclusive.
Yeah,
policy.
I guess I'm coming through it. I mean, it's a tough one, but
That's
we just keep going, or and I'm hearing Dawn, and the teacher thing bothered me from the beginning. She's eloquent in how you spoke, and I think we should go ahead.
Now, if we do by the principle of, as is the other libraries, they give to students who are in schools in the service area, which is what we're doing with the middle school and the high school people from Pittsburgh. There are some apparently who attend elementary school, who are from Pittsburgh, they attend them in Bath or so. But then there are other elementary school students who don't attend in our service area. So, I mean, that muddies the water, or is it's not a distinction we're trying to wrestle with? If we decide that we're going to.
What if we
Go
just have this, or we just like a framing issue? We just said, we sponsor 300 library cards that are just available to people who come to the desk and have a card and don't necessarily live here. Like, we just.
That I see as more problematic, because then you're gonna have towns pull out for sure. Because then they could just say, well, then I'm not gonna pay for cards.
Like the library funds X amount of cards and like we cap it at a.
Right, it's a limited number.
Right.
Maybe the cards look different, I don't know, like they're monitored differently, I don't know, but it's a way to sort of avoid the whole where you live, where your school, whatever. It's just you come to the library and you want to be a borrower of something, taking the library, taking the materials out, then.
I think that goes against, it's we're really trying to hit home this about what our core values are about student library cards. Because then you could be an adult from Wisconsin and get a card. That's not, but then we're also then limiting our ability. But we also.
We hit the target market without.
But people pay for non-resident cards, then we'd have to make a decision. Are you going to pay for your card or not? I still think this doesn't get at what we're really trying to do. I know it's a way around it, but where would we get the money to?
I think that weakens the education in schools argument.
I just don't think we're making a point here. We're making a statement on what we believe.
I have a question. If you had to create a 30-second soundbite to support this, what would you say?
No, I'd need time to, because.
Well, if somebody came up, I'm just thinking.
I mean, because 30 seconds, you gotta have every word.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's
Use the
your
right
elevator
word.
pitch?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I could certainly write it, but I wouldn't be able to say it to.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Maybe we just.
Right.
Yeah, I don't pay attention. I was just like.
You said it well. Some of your statement.
Doesn't necessarily have to be binary either, you know, this could be some sort of in-between solution, like have students have subsidized cards for students. Or have a funding model where Fitchburg pays for the student plan. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing,
If-
we do have kids in RC1 schools from other places, but there's funding attached to that. So I think it's kind of a,
Yeah.
we can't just
Exactly.
say like, oh, well, we have all of these kids, yes, at a price. So
So that.
it's hard to make an argument one way. Or
Is the idea of a student card at a reduced rate? And the non-resident card, is that too much of a compromise and still not getting
More
to the?
difficult to administer.
I mean, it's something to discuss.
mean, that's
It's
the top
not,
one.
you know, I don't know. I'd want to talk with staff. I mean, we've not.
If it was a student card, that would get around the issue of, parents and families and everybody using it, because if it were clearly a student card, then maybe that would reduce that, help that issue, if everybody will then use the card.
I don't know. I mean, we'd have to look at the way we do. It's gonna be a lot more, you know, there's work involved in having it's a different color card. There's a
Yeah,
purchase
right.
involved. There's a lot of work involved in that, and coding it different, we code cards
Well,
differently
is
anyway.
hate to say it, is it still a question where this issue is ripe for decision? We've heard.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
All right.
I don't think motion to table it. I'm not sure when to say the table it. So-
Well, I know it's a couple.
It's not really nothing right
complicated. I don't
now.
have any more information. Is there more information that would be helpful to anybody? I just think it's, when you just look at what the two issues are, it's. So, perfect. I don't know that more information would help me.
Allison, yeah.
So this would include, I just want to clarify, and Leah, we're gonna have to get together to figure, I stopped taking minutes on it, so. So this would include Pittsburgh kids and other kids too, but we're just gonna go with Pittsburgh right now. It at PES as well as Fisher Mitchell.
No,
Yes.
it's not at
School.
Pittsburgh Elementary, because that's not
No,
within our.
only
service.
in our service area.
So Pittsburgh kids whose parents have paid to have them go to Fisher Mitchell instead.
Well,
right?
I want to clarify
Go right
something.
side.
Pittsburgh is in RSU one.
They don't
pay to go.
It's just.
They're in RSU one.
Right.
Yeah.
Just for clarification,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is a part of RSU one, so any
They go to
student.
the high school,
But then they
middle school, but then they
also have
probably-
their own school.
You can
No.
petition to have.
Oh, yeah, they do, but.
There's a
part of
school
the
in
RSU.
Pittsburgh
But they-
that they
like-
joined the RSU. Yeah,
But
Okay.
those
Yeah, I
kids
did know
could go
that.
to Fisher Mitchell.
same with
or
Woolwich.
And
Yeah.
their
whole
budget
bus.
is part of our issue ones.
Yeah.
Right, so Pittsburgh is paying to support RSU one.
Okay,
As is Woolwich. Woolwich is also part of there.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
George
So
Pond
Pitts-
goes back.
Pittsburgh is not paying to support Patrick Library.
That's why the RSU thing came out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right, because it's,
Yeah.
right,
Yep.
it's not for just RSU.
Right, that's why the RSU one isn't really the,
Oh, I know all about
yeah,
this.
that's right.
Third.
Brand new to the
So-
select.
Muddy
board.
that, but.
I don't know what more information will get us.
That's right.
I mean, I think at some point,
So lots of.
I mean, we
Yeah,
can
I'm not
table
sure-
this for the rest of the year.
I'm not sure what
Oh,
else we can
Yeah.
provide. Staff has done a lot of work.
Librarians letter is really thorough, I think that.
I'm just not sure what else we could
you
provide.
said, well, it depends. It's ultimately what you said.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Is there
I find it
anything
very
else
useful at all.
you can do in terms,
I mean, I can, I may do it anyway, even if I don't.
if we want to just kick it down the road and avoid a vote, we can ask Allison to come back at the next meeting and tell us what the position might be from,
Just get some ideas.
or we can vote.
Hmm?
Or we could vote.
Or we can vote.
And now I have to vote no.
Yeah.
I was the one.
Well, it's up to the board whether they want to vote. I mean, it's,
We could table it past at least the current budget sometime.
is it really gonna change then? Because if it's not, I say vote. I mean, it's just my feeling, but
The thing that scares me,
wanna
Leslie, is if we lost one community, that impacts the programs, it affects staff, it it affects what we can give to all the kids
Yes.
that are already supported.
Staff don't wanna live in fear of that either.
Right,
Like, we wanna be able to just do our job.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of that, the librarians, but
yeah.
I
But
think that that's kind of, they just wanna be able to serve the
I'm,
kids.
and
the
I,
people who
and
come
I,
to the door.
Right, but what I hear you saying is don't live in fear of it and do what we think is best.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're hearing the
exactly.
opposite of that. And I have to, I'm gonna have to agree with that, is I want the library to be the best it can. We lost it, we will figure it
Yeah, we
out.
figured it
We,
out then.
we cannot be the library we need to be unless we are willing to take a risk. And I have always felt that way, and I still do. I know I'm not on the board, but I am an employee of the library, and I feel like things will never change until we're willing to take, we will always be stuck in the same
Okay.
position.
Yeah.
Carl, Jack wanted to say
Jack
something.
had something.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have one more point. I know that we're beating a dead horse collectively, but I think the thing that could happen realistically is we could lose Woolwich or West Bath anyway, and that funding would
anything.
disappear, and then we would still have to cut programs.
So at
cut
least we've been
staffing.
immoral, right?
Yes,
ground.
we would have paved the fear
In
of,
this
and
world
then.
today, we need
No,
to
no,
have a battle.
no, I don't think
I,
so.
I kind of,
Well, I
We have
don't-
to think of what's written.
the board is supposed to be the fiscal responsibility person who takes care of the library. And we have to make sure that there are funds there for the library to do what, all the things that we want the library.
Yeah.
And all, that's the whole, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, that's actually a question. Is the board's primary responsibility to the mission of the library and it's.
Yes.
But it's both, it's a combination of both.
Well, a mission is only possible with funding.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's no library.
So with no funding, you got no library.
But if we abandon all of our services and principles to make the funding. then
We're not
if-
abandoning, I'm sorry, Jack, we're not abandoning all our services and principles. We're serving 5 communities right now fully.
Yep.
So that we're fulfilling our principles. Not saying it couldn't be expanded, but we
Yeah,
are
right.
serving,
Yeah.
not shortchanging anybody. Except for this,
Students. Yeah.
well,
except
some
for-
whose government decided not to participate. All right, let's take a vote on whether to further table this or to, I would say to admit all Pittsburgh students.
Oh, it's not-
It's not
That's
just.
it.
Oh, all non-resident,
Non-resident.
all
All
non-resident,
students who
All
are
students who
in,
attend.
schools in our service area.
all students who are in schools in our service areas. Again, this doesn't address them as people who are in the Pittsburgh school,
Unless they attend a school in our
unless
service.
they
area.
attend a school in our service
So-
area.
Right.
We were
There-
never talking about Pittsburgh Elementary.
No,
But Mary has said now that she has students coming from Pittsburgh who attend schools in RSU1, so those who come,
Right, but they're
But they're
in
not-
RSU
Right,
one.
not Pittsburgh Elementary.
Not
schools. They're
Pittsburgh
given to
Elementary.
Fisher Mitchell.
Take RSU one out of.
It's not
Yeah.
about RSU one, it's just students that attend schools in our service area. That simple.
okay.
So Carl, can we read something and see if this is the motion they're making to offer free and unrestricted library membership cards to all students attending schools in our service area for the duration of their primary and secondary education.
I think we need a provision that mentions for the students who don't live in our service area.
Non-residents.
It's for non-resident students that were,
This is just a blanket statement saying that doesn't matter, basically. That doesn't matter. What this is saying.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
sure, okay. I guess you're right.
Attending,
I see what you're saying.
That's your.
That supersedes-
Are you making a motion?
But there was an earlier motion that we discussed, which was to take.
I know,
this.
so I've just.
Yeah, so there's two
all of a
motions.
sudden.
Yes,
Two motions.
the one, somebody has to make the motion and second it, and then the other one has to be done too.
Okay, so this, I was suggesting the motion as Allison's written it. Is there a second for that motion? Second. John is second, okay. All,
So can you read back the motion? Make sure that you did, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading the last sentence.
From
of The,
where they say we therefore express and
yes,
recommend.
Yeah, so, to offer free and just like the last 2.5 lines, 1.5 lines.
Yeah.
To offer free and unrestricted library membership cards to all students attending schools in our service area for the duration of their primary and secondary education.
Okay, yeah. So that's the motion.
Yeah.
Right, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay,
Oh, and there's Lori.
and Lauren, sorry, 6, okay. All right. What do we have here?
Would.
Okay, all those against the motion?
This
One.
was your motion. Can I just be clear?
I'm just trying to move it along.
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Because that usually means.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
But
7.
Yeah, usually,
No,
well,
she already voted.
Oh,
She was trying to arm wrestle.
Rock, paper,
so that's when you have.
Right.
It was 6 and 6.
No, it was 6 and 5, wasn't it?
6.
Oh,
6, 6.
Can you do that again, Carl? The nose.
Call the nose again.
All in favor, against, opposed to the motion?
All opposed.
7. You counting yourself? I did. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
So there's the. And there were 17 of us.
I guess so. Oh, and you vote yes.
Lori
Lori
voted.
voted
Okay.
yes.
Lori voted.
Okay.
All right, so. Motion is declined.
I'd like to somehow convey to the staff what a difficult decision this has been, and how long we took this on this discussion.
And can I also say that that's not to say we can't pursue some other motion that we can take care of it, but this particular one right now
Mhm.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to keep, I don't want to lose it.
This is,
You keep
I
the
don't
conversation.
consider, this is not a dead issue as
No.
far as I'm concerned. I'd like, because I know what we all would like to do.
Yeah.
In principle. Okay. All right,
So what's the next?
Do we want to have a motion for Allison to report back to the board after she has?
If I have any.
yeah,
Come up under.
Conversation, yeah.
Yeah.
informal conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no
You
motion
gotta put that
needed.
in the
She can
minutes.
just
Yeah.
formally go in conference.
Because then it'll be an old business.
That's great about, I'd really like to figure out ways to have conversations and how does that work? So that we're not just tackling, but this is going back to the funding part, but that we are mostly speaking we're on different timetables. And so, for example, West Bath, it's like we're going for this ask, but there's been no conversation leading up to it. And part of it is that there was one of the corporators who's on the budget advisory committee was reaching out. But the problem is that we haven't passed our budgets, and that doesn't happen until January. So there's this awkward timing thing, and I just want to try to figure out how can we have the conversations, whether it's with Pittsburgh, whether it's with our served, just to be able to reach out. I'm just not sure how that. So, I want to speak to that when we go on Thursday, because it's problematic.
I think I'm going to make an executive decision and suggest that we, unless Suki has
We're gonna make that decision.
the mission statement,
Exactly.
and instead move on to new business with the construction loan.
I just say I was gonna suggest we table that for now.
So they didn't.
Although the staff, can I just say that the staff has been really, really responsive, and I had a lot of input from them, but none of it fit together easily.
Carl, can we talk about the McDonald Trust?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's fund or new business. Well, sort of old business, isn't it? But-
Yeah.
Okay, can I shoot? Yeah, ongoing business. Okay, go ahead.
Oh.
Because you've talked the most, I think, with Judy.
With Judy, right. So as we've talked about in the previous board meetings, we are the recipient of a trust where there are 3 charitable organizations. It's the Thomas McDonald Trust. And so as the board did approve that we would keep it managed by Bass Savings Trust, and that Bass Savings would be the trustee. That was voted on at the last meeting. So we have Judy Metcalf is working for us on a petition to the Attorney General's office because the restrictions on the usage or the spending of the trust are very, very narrow, and to the point where we can only purchase currently educational books. So only print books that are of an educational nature. And so we want to expand that to be able to purchase a wider variety of materials. So we've been working with Judy on this. She's been back and forth with someone from the AG's office. One of the things Judy asked me recently was how much we currently spend on books, physical print books, you know, with the pages and covers and all of that. So I was able to get her that number, and last fiscal year we spent about $43,000. And so currently, so our portion of the trust is about $825,000. And the way it's currently invested, the annual income is about $22,000. So our spending of $43,000 on books exceeds, and of course, our books is all types of books. It exceeds the annual income of
You say all types of
$22,000.
books.
Right,
Okay.
what we
Besides
spend.
educational.
Right. So the AG's office is suggesting that we will probably not be able to go as broad as we wanted to go with all types of materials, including digital, audio, online subscriptions, because we currently spend that much on print materials. And so we've been having a lot of back and forth. I even mentioned to Judy, what if, you know, in 10 years from now, we're purchasing has decreased on books, or what if, God forbid, books become obsolete? And she said, well, at that point, you would go back to the Attorney General's office. However, you know, so I said, well, you know, I said, well, I want to take this to the board and get their feedback before she submits this petition. So the new wording of the petition is limited to all types of books, but it is books. And so the AG's office feels that this is the best approach in order to get this approved.
Have you spoken to her since yesterday, since we had the exchange?
Yes.
And she said.
No, not since yesterday.
Okay.
So that's what I need to, that's what, so I thought, because we started having exchanges email, I thought, let's bring it to the board and then I will respond to her with all of any notes based on the exchanges and.
And is your understanding, Leslie, that in the revised stipulation that books still covers only print books?
Yes.
And I didn't understand that because, physical books, the word physical, I did not see that in the early documents, and when we talked about it earlier, and then suddenly physical appeared.
That was in an email, that was in your.
That was in email
That was-
because the understanding was books. It wasn't ebooks. Like ebooks didn't exist when this will was written.
Right.
So I'm calling it physical books because because ebooks didn't exist, there's no way he meant ebooks. So
No.
I'm describing it that way so that you know it doesn't include ebooks.
But has the feedback from the AG's office said that expanding it to non-physical books is a no-go?
Yeah.
So,
You saw all that in the
well, I
thread.
didn't specifically see that in there,
No,
because. So, just so the board knows, there were some of us that were in an exchange
Right.
yesterday. And so what I had said is that the definition of a book or what we read in 10 years could be completely different than what we're looking at now. Someone else mentioned about the ADA compliance.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
And,
It's
you
print
know,
by Braille, which are print books too. We could.
Oh, but not Braille necessarily. I mean, audio, people with
Right.
mobility disabilities who can't use a physical book. I mean, you're limiting
Right.
access.
so I think this
to
is
physical
just an assistant attorney general
Right.
she's dealing with. It's
Oh.
not, this is not.
It's not the
Not
attorney
Aaron
general.
Fry.
but-
And I just think that we need to, I would like to see it pushed a little bit more.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm trying, so now I need to go back to Judy and say the board would like this, so that's where I need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I agree, but I want to make sure that we can, what happened was when Judy got the number that we're spending more than right now, the trust is producing, you know, she's like, this will never fly. However, we get to choose how we want it invested. It's how it's currently invested. It doesn't mean that that's not going to change.
And the thing is that, you know, the Attorney General and these Assistant Attorney Generals, it's a revolving door. So these people are changing. So you get an opinion today, that's not gonna be the same opinion you're gonna get in 2 years from now. So it would be wise for us to get as expansive a definition on that as we can now. So we're not spending money on.
Right.
trivia and everything.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
so is everyone in agreement then I should push back a little bit and say we really want it to be more expanded because how it's
ADA,
ADA, how the money is invested may have larger returns at a later point
Right.
because of how we may
It
change.
definitely will. It's been very.
Oh, I know,
42,000
Okay.
on an $800,000,
right,
which that's peanuts.
right,
So,
right, and we know, I mean, that's just the current.
Yeah.
Because Judy's been, you know, getting information from Sean Martin, who's, you know, it's currently invested, but that's
Yeah.
person
and
at the trust,
I
so.
think there's an argument to be made, you know, when the terms of the trust were made, book meant one thing.
Right.
Book means something different today.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
And that's just then that's a,
It seems very, that interpretation was very short-sighted.
And we originally had it much broader and it was all good until
Yeah.
she asked me, how much do you spend on print books? And she said, well, it's more than, and so the AG had asked that, or the assistant AG had asked that.
So just because we spend more on print books, that's the
That-
rationale for why we can't.
Right, because we
Doesn't-
spend more on print books than it's current, than the dip,
Makes sense.
right,
Yeah.
well, that's what,
yeah, I don't.
that's the only rationale that
In 20 years, we might not have been dealing.
Well,
with
I said
this
that
at
to
all.
her.
Right,
Okay,
right.
right.
We have no idea the rate.
So I'm
It's
gonna,
still books.
I will go back to Judy then,
Okay,
Okay, good.
okay, thank you, Leslie.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna leave.
All right,
Because I may need some.
the construction loan,
Yeah, I may need some additional.
Right,
Yeah.
so, the finance committee, talked about it being the end of the first quarter coming up. And we agreed that we were gonna, every quarter, think about what we can pay down, if anything, of the loan, and it seemed like we had sufficient reserves to do a pay down this quarter of 125,000. And, that would be the finance committee's recommendation to the board, and I'll make a motion that we, pay down the BSI loan, $125,000 at the end of the first quarter.
From the capital savings.
From the
Capital campaign.
yeah, capital campaign.
Yeah.
funds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
There-
second it.
I'll third it.
Hey, Scott, we should,
So this is a one-time payment that we're voting on?
yes,
Yeah.
no time to go.
And what will the balance be after the payment?
I'll tell you,
118 now, so
Yes, yeah.
less than 300.
less than, yeah.
How's that?
That's great.
That was our goal, less than
So we have to
300.
pay off in another year or year and a half.
But are we gonna have to vote for each one? or-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're not,
That's all
that's
right.
scheduled.
Yeah.
to approve the payment. All right, the motion's been made, all in favor? Passed. Okay,
Awesome.
D 990. Um, you-
Heavy reading.
It is, but I
Holy cow,
I
sure
have
is.
one thing on page 31, of the, if the, with the special fundraising, we
What?
don't say that we have, it says we don't do special fundraising events. But I think we do. The t-shirt.
Yeah, I don't know why.
We didn't get too long.
Yeah.
What page?
you probably
It
have-
was on page 31 in my thing.
No,
I saw the section on
Way,
questions.
way to the end. Way to the end.
It did way at the end. But
there's something.
page numbers are not
No.
meaningful.
It's at 1:30.
Yeah. Well, I only did it because I was gonna have to take.
I thought, I wrote down page 31.
If you're looking at the PDF, there are.
I was saying,
So PDF 31,
Yeah, yeah.
that's all.
Well,
where it says, supplemental information regarding fundraising or gaming.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, all that gaming.
I went
What
over
does it say at the top? Supplemental, whatever?
supplemental is.
Scheduled
Oh.
PD supplemental info regarding fundraising or gaming.
Gaming would be like.
Bingo.
like
Bingo.
bingo, or would it be
What?
like,
So we didn't check the special
Special
fundraising.
fundraising
box.
That's. But I, you
I
know, I
don't really
don't know,
know how much about it.
I don't know, I didn't.
Well,
ask
it
her, but
hasn't
I
been
just thought-
filed yet until so
oh, I see that.
And don't we solicit
approved it?
government sometimes?
Was it
right?
filed?
No,
No?
well, we did one for the campaign, or no, we
For
actually ended up not doing. it.
federal, not this year. We haven't gotten any
Yeah.
federal, any government grants.
Oh, okay.
What?
Oh, yes, I see.
Yeah, that should. be-
Part
that
one
should be
G.
checked.
Yeah,
And as should solicitation of grants.
But it's government.
Do-
PDF of
That's,
those,
we
we
don't
we-
do government. No, we haven't.
we have it, not in the last year. we didn't. No.
Well, I don't know, is that a reason to?
When they-
I would think they could, it has electronic.
Unless
but I
that
think they could
means
do that.
something.
I think it might mean something. We can just ask them. They'll be able
Yeah.
to tell us quickly.
So if you can just, yeah, I can send him an email to Brett, but I need to know what pay I not
It's
Schedule
Schedule G of the 990.
Schedule G,
Part
Maybe-
one,
Yes.
subunit one,
Schedule G, part one.
Check in your box.
subunit one, and then it's G. which
Should be
is
letter G.
I think it likely has to do with the dollar requirement.
Oh.
It could be,
Special fundraising events on IRS Form 990 refers activities designed to raise money that are not regularly carried on, such as galas, silent auctions, concerts, golf tournaments, etc. So,
Check it out.
yeah, check it out, because we do all those.
Above 15,000 though?
yeah, I'll have to check with him because there was a questionnaire that I had to fill out that asked about
Okay.
fundraising and events, so it may be that it was a higher amount than we did, or it
Oh,
was,
they might
so
have
like
done it
I
this
wouldn't
year.
just go because I had a,
I don't think.
Special?
I will check with him on
Like,
that.
on page 9, it has that we get 330,000 plus from government grants. What would?
Was that capital campaigns?
Yeah, but we didn't get any government grants.
Which,
We
Yeah,
did.
sure, this is areas.
Yeah, last year we
not
haven't gotten any
PDF, okay.
in my
Not
12
the
years
PDF.
here, so,
Federal.
yeah, government grants, we don't necessarily.
What page is this?
Do they count E-rate?
Nine of.
We don't
the
get,
It's one.
Yeah, there,
Yeah,
government grants, is that the municipal contribution?
that's what I was
yes,
wondering.
it's the municipal
Okay, yeah.
contributions.
So
Yeah, I mean, I
like
submit all
those
that, that's the thing, I don't wanna, we've gone, it's
So it's on the
not,
wrong line is what you're saying.
right,
Well-
that's the
So
municipal.
that, yeah, so then does that box also need to be checked on page
It's-
31?
I think I don't wanna like nitpick everything because they've gone through, like the way they record it is different than we think about it. I know because I've had to fill out so many
Yeah.
forms. They have seen all of our financials, so where it fits on the box here may not be where we think it normally fits. So I think that's what I'm gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
not- Yeah.
I should be able to answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can certainly ask them. But that number sounds exactly like the municipal
Yeah, that's what I was-
contributions, and I can probably pull that up.
Brett?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any-
Are we supposed to
So-
vote on accepting this? or
So
how-
you don't, the motion is that you've had a chance to review and discuss the 990. That's what the motion needs to be in the minutes.
Bit of an odd motion, but I moved that we reviewed and discussed it.
That you've had the option to.
We've had the opportunity.
Had the opportunity, yeah.
Right, that's what it has.
I move that we've had the opportunity to discuss it. I acknowledge.
Acknowledge.
No,
I move that I
And
acknowledge.
relying upon the expertise
Yeah.
of the accountant
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
What?
in order to approve.
And relying on the expertise of the accountant. This is being recorded, right?
Yeah, but I was really hoping not to have to listen to it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Elizabeth laughing.
okay,
It's gotten very dark where she is.
It is.
okay.
Right.
So I'll second.
No.
A second,
On a second.
it's a motion, so we should vote on the motion,
Yeah.
all in favor, okay. The professional services budget line overreach.
Yes, so this is, as Tommy mentioned, when we met with, as we've been working with One River, of course, they're new to us this year, so,
I know it's been here too long.
Yeah.
There's been, a lot of things. So, yeah, so anyway, we've had to provide a lot of more information, a lot of different information. And so one of the things that we've discovered, they had to do a lot of adjustments from last year, from last fiscal year. Some of it was in the way that we record or don't record all of our different accounts. So as a result of that, we went over the budget for the expected cost. So anyway, so we talked about it, finance, where we were going to find the fees to cover, or find the funds to cover that. We also have the HR person, some of her fees, so it's a little bit more because she came to policy and personnel committee meeting, and it's got a little more in-depth work. But I have capped her, I've talked with her, we're capping off the amount that we'll spend for the rest of the fiscal year, and we'll be able to get the work done that
How
we
much
need
is
to
that
do.
about?
Another $1,000 cap. So that's not the amount. So the amount I'm asking for to be taken from capital reserve to cover the rest of the professional services is $6,000. That covers the overage for One River and the additional HR consultants fees that can't be covered
What
in
was the overage for One River? Was it
about
4,000?
almost $4,000.
Or something.
Yeah, that's what I recall. It's
Yeah.
4,000.
And when you say capital reserve,
From where are we taking it?
Capital reserve.
Sorry.
the regular one,
We have any.
not the campaign.
No, just capital
Capital
reserve.
okay.
Yeah, we don't, that other one's contingency.
Okay.
This is capital
okay.
reserve. So I would need someone to make a motion on that.
Well, I'll make the motion that we take 6,000 from capital reserve to cover. What line was that?
Professional services.
Professional service
Up to 6,000. We may not need it all, but.
up to
Thank you.
6,000. We may not need it all.
Second,
Seconded?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Who seconded it?
I, Suki.
Suki did.
Yeah.
And finally, the library hired timeline.
It's a very quick question. So I was talking with the finance committee meeting. So in our new budget, we have a part-time teen engagement librarian that we will be hiring. I'm very excited about. And I had asked for some advice on whether I should wait to hire this position until all the towns had approved the budget. And so suggested that get the advice of the board. So that's what I'm doing. Does anyone have any thoughts? Otherwise, I would probably advertise within probably about 6 weeks so that we can have somebody start right at the beginning of the fiscal year. Or the other option is to wait and advertise, and then what'll happen is we'll be a couple of months into
You
the
won't even
year.
get, because we'll wait for Georgetown and Rousey won't vote until June.
That's right. So that means basically we're gonna be 2 or 3 months behind.
So does the hiring, when you put out a notice, is that stay subject to availability of funds? Or we we put that proviso on that? That's what the federal government does all the time.
Wow.
That's why I mentioned.
I will. I'll tell you, no one else gets away with that, Carl.
Okay, no, fair enough, but I thought I'd ask you, from my experience.
Wait, so what's the motion?
It's
Well, we
not
don't
a
have-
motion. I'm just asking for advice. It's just nothing. It's just an operational thing. So I just want to know, does anyone have any thoughts?
That's the price in the budget.
Well, it's in.
Yes.
It's in the budget for next year.
And that's
You
what
wouldn't,
we're
and the
asking
person
for this
wouldn't
year.
start until.
They
next
wouldn't
year.
start until next year,
right.
but the
You just
question
want to be able to hire them.
before, right. I mean, it's always,
Right.
everybody's hires based on budget. It's advertising.
Right.
So I miss, what did you say, Shuki?
They'd be starting July 1.
They wouldn't be starting before the beginning of the fiscal year.
right.
But it's just whether we want to wait and even advertise in case.
So we're gonna move ahead.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, but,
All right, that was my thought, but I wanted to kind of just, all right,
People agree?
I'll do it.
If we don't get a town, if we don't get all the towns, we're gonna have bigger problems. than
I was just gonna say, we're gonna have other issues.
Yeah.
We'll
Fundraising shoes.
we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
that is the last item, last item on the agenda.
I motion to adjourn.
Just, I will hold that off for just a minute. Let's talk about next month's
We got 9 minutes.
meeting will be on the 14th. As I said, that's the second Tuesday in April.
My guess is that I will.
We'll be back in the community room.
But you only needed me to cover the minutes.
Yes, this month. Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn, Anthony?
Yeah, I heard.
No move.
All in favor?
Gift cards if everybody has.